Well, Senator, the federal Constitution and the state Constitution both contain protections against various forms of discrimination.
But can a state legislature say this group, we're going to treat this group of people differently than another group of people?
So I think, Senator, an example where a legislature
Tell
could
me first if a state can do that.
Yes, a state can, for example, require a driving age which discriminates on the basis of age. To say, for example,
when can a state legislature not do that?
When it's seeking to do so under a basis that is protected under the state or federal Constitution.
Okay, good.
Should someone who doesn't understand the Constitution be allowed to serve as a federal judge? Because what I'm about to show you is exactly why we need to start vetting our judges a lot harder and why elections matter more now than ever before. Senator John Kennedy, one of the last bulldogs left in that chamber, sat down with Biden's latest batch of judicial nominees, and what we witnessed was embarrassing. But not surprising. This is the Prodigy Unfiltered. If you're new here, do well to subscribe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Judge Dudek, did I say that name right?
That's correct, Senator.
All right, what's the warrant requirement?
Well, before the court would issue a warrant, you have to assess to make sure that there's probable cause to either search the place.
When's a warrant required?
Excuse me?
When is a warrant required?
The general rule is a warrant is required any time that the government wants to search a person, place, or thing.
Could you speak into the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator. Yeah, I said the backdrop rule is that a warrant is required any time the government wants to search a person, place, or a thing.
And to arrest you, right?
There are some exceptions to that, but generally, yes.
Okay. And there are exceptions to the warrant requirement for searching and arresting people, are they not? Are there not?
Yes, Senator, there are.
Okay. Suppose the Florida Supreme Court ruled that here in Florida, we're not going to recognize any exceptions to the warrant requirement. You have to have a warrant to search someone, and you have to have a warrant to arrest someone. Mm-hmm. No exceptions. Can the Florida Supreme Court do that?
Well, Senator, under the Supremacy Clause, they'd be bound by what the Fourth Amendment dictates. Of course, they're free to make their own requirements as it.
What if the Florida Supreme Court did it under the Florida Constitution and not the federal Constitution?
Well, they would still, Senator, have to apply with what the federal Constitution said.
No, they wouldn't.
Under the Supremacy Clause?
Do you know what adequate and independent state grounds means?
Sure. Of course, I would understand that they could have independent and adequate state grounds for state law, but they.
No, they don't. As long as you don't take away rights, but add to them, a state can do whatever it wants to under its state constitution, can it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
but
Senator.
That's not what you just said. You think the Supremacy Clause applies? The Supremacy Clause applies.
Well,
you want to change your answer?
Senator, I would like to change my answer to the extent that I agree with you that the Florida legislature or Florida could do exactly what you said. I meant in my statement is that.
Trust me, it can. Judge Pruitt, I'm sorry, I can't see that far.
It's Judge Pratt, Senator. Yes.
Judge Pratt, I apologize. I can't see that far. Can a state legislature pass a law that discriminates against a group of people over another group of people for inferior treatment?
Well, Senator, the federal Constitution and the state Constitution both contain protections against various forms of discrimination.
But can a state legislature say this group, we're going to treat this group of people differently than another group of people?
So I think, Senator, an example where a legislature could.
Tell me first if a state can do that.
Yes, a state can, for example, require a driving age which discriminates on the basis of age. To say, for example,
when can a state legislature not do that?
When it's seeking to do so under a basis that is protected under the state or federal Constitution.
Okay, good. Judge, tell me about the Privileges and Immunities Clause.
The Privileges and Immunities Clause, there's a privileges and immunities and a privileges or immunities clause. There's one of each. One of them relates...
Privileges and is what I'm asking you about.
I believe you're referring to what came through in one of the Reconstruction amendments and discussing the fact that that the privileges and immunities of citizenship would be extended under those.
First, what article is it in?
I believe it's in the 13th Amendment.
No, 4th. Article 4. What does it do?
Senator, you have pinpointed a question that in my 9 years as a judge, in my decade of private practice before this, my 2 years as a law clerk, my 2 years on law review in law school, including a year as editor-in-chief, didn't ever come up.
You tell me you don't know?
So it's an interesting question.
Yes,
and
ma'am. I know it's interesting. That's why I asked it.
Yes.
But you don't know the answer. Just tell me. I got a lot of ground to cover here.
I would be very happy to research it.
Okay. Do you know what the Privileges or Immunities Clause is?
With respect to my answer would be the same on that.
You don't know it either.
Well, with respect to the privileges and immunities of citizenship, my recollection is that
privileges are immunities.
Yes, my recollection is that was discussed in one of the Reconstruction amendments.
Which one do you know?
I believe it was the 13th or the 14th.
Okay. All right, Judge. What's Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of '64 do? Ma'am?
Which judge?
This judge down here on the far end.
Artau?
I can't see that far.
Okay, just making sure, because there's 4 judges there. Judge Artau, I'm going to let you answer that briefly.
Hey, I want to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
You can
Madam
answer
Chairman.
that briefly.
Judge, what's Title VI of the Civil Rights Act do?
I believe that ensures that people are treated equally in any places that they would be, that they would not be discriminated against.
In all cases?
I mean, refresh my recollection as to what you were referring to,
I'm
Senator.
referring to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which you're going to see every other Thursday as a federal judge.
So I believe that's under the Commerce Clause. They wanted to make sure that there was not any discrimination going on with regard to race, and that was addressing
it. It prohibits discriminating on the basis of race or color or national origin. Under what circumstance? Do you know the answer?
Under any circumstances where you're providing services to people.
No, it's only if you're getting federal money. You need to brush up on that one. I'm way over my time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You'd think that would be an easy one, right? I mean, we're talking about the Fourth Amendment here, the very core of American liberty. The thing that says the government can't just barge into your home and rifle through your stuff without cause. But this nominee stammered and stumbled like a deer in the headlights. Viewers, if you're going to wear that black robe and sit in judgment of others, you should probably understand the basic rules of the Constitution. And then comes the kicker, exceptions to the warrant requirement. The nominee flinches again. You can almost feel the fear in their voice. It's like they're terrified of saying something that might offend the far-left legal establishment. Because let's be honest, their job isn't to uphold the Constitution anymore. It's to bend it around whatever social agenda the Democrats are pushing this week. Now, this is where it gets juicy. Kennedy lays a trap, a basic test of federalism. He asks if a state, like Florida, can impose stricter search and seizure protections under its own constitution. The nominee flubs it, says no, tries to talk in circles, and eventually, after being cornered, backs off and admits that, yes, a state can expand rights under state law. That's day one stuff in Constitutional Law 101. What does that tell you, patriots? It tells you these nominees aren't being picked for their brains or constitutional fidelity. They're being picked because they're politically reliable to the Biden machine. Next up, Judge Pratt. Kennedy asks the simplest of questions. Can a legislature discriminate between two groups of people? The answer should have been clear. Not if it violates constitutional protections. Instead, we get this nervous rambling about driving ages and vague forms of discrimination. Folks, this isn't just fumbling, it's intentional evasion. Democrats don't want judges who know the law. They want judges who redefine the law in real time, depending on who's in front of them. That's not justice. That's tyranny in a robe. And here's the most disgraceful moment of the entire hearing. Kennedy asks a judge to explain the Privileges and Immunities Clause, Article 4 of the Constitution, and what do we get? Crickets. This nominee has been a judge for 9 years and even clerked for 2 more, but can't answer a basic question about the Constitution? Give me a break. This isn't just a flub. It's proof that the radical left is shoving through judges who aren't ready for prime time, because knowledge isn't the standard anymore. Ideology is. And let's talk about Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. One nominee didn't even know it only applies when federal funding is involved. You're about to be a federal judge, and you don't know how one of the most important civil rights laws functions. I'll tell you why this matters. Because the people who do understand the law and the Constitution are being shut out by an administration that would rather check a diversity box than ensure the integrity of our judiciary. This is what happens when our institutions are hijacked. Our founding fathers put limits on government for a reason. They gave us a constitution, not a living document, but a rock-solid foundation. And now we have federal judge nominees who treat it like a pop quiz they didn't study for. Senator Kennedy isn't just asking tough questions. He's doing the job the rest of Congress has forgotten, defending the American people from judicial activism, from ignorance, and from corruption hiding behind a gavel. If we don't start demanding competence and courage from our judges, we'll lose this republic one court ruling at a time. So speak up. Share this video. Let people know what's happening. Because the Constitution doesn't defend itself, we do.